bad way to start a video, right?
Hey YouTube, it's Kiki from Mission Spooky. How are you guys doing? I'm not very good at looking directly into the camera on the phone. My new camera for my computer is okay, but the lighting in this room is still crap and it washes it out like totally. So, makeshift intro to episode 40. This is something that the boys and I have decided might be fun to do specifically for YouTube, where I'm going to give you guys a little intro and you get to see a tiny bit of my personal studio. So this is episode 40. This is going to be Hex Hollow Murder, and for those of you who aren't familiar, Hex Hollow, Rehmeyer's Hollow, is pretty close to where we are. It's only about 2 hours away. It is, well, we are really close to Philadelphia, so it's 2 hours from us, closer to Philly side than Pittsburgh side. And someone's saying hi to me. See, I can't even record without. So funny. I'm kind of busy. Anyway, I'm so surprised as well. The dog will probably show up too and nudge me. Anyway, yeah, so Hex Hollow Murder, episode 41. This was originally, it's kind of a cool little story here. You're only going to hear this on YouTube. It's a cool little story. Let's face it, I did a lot of research for this episode, and this was going to be our big, like, episode 40 guys, right? You know, and we were shocked, pleasantly surprised when Tyler Strand contacted us and liked our review of season 2 of Hellier and asked if he could come on the show, and of course I said yes. I'm not gonna say no to that. Plus he's a freaking awesome guy, like seriously. And so yeah, so episode 40 became Tyler's episode, which was really cool. We got to do that and get it in time for me to be able to edit it. So there you go. This episode was originally going to be episode 40 and got pushed back to 41. So here you have it. Rehmeyer's Hollow, Hex Hollow Murder. It's really good, and it's got a little bit of witchcraft in it, and you guys may have not have known, or you probably have heard of it. You might have even listened to a couple of other people's episodes about it, but hopefully I've got more in-depth information than anybody else does on this one. And I think that's about it. Now, I did promise a little something down on the floor because my chair is also busted. So, yay. You know, if you want to send us some money through Patreon, it's Patreon/Mission Spooky. And then I might be able to buy a new chair that actually works, because it won't stay up. And I'm already short. I'm only 4'11". So I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to like kneel on the floor and talk to you guys, because why not? Also, look, I'm a giant nerd. You won't see this anywhere else. Oh, look at these beauties. Look at these beauties. I don't know if I can get it into focus. This is my Clacks. My super expensive $90 beautiful Clacks. They're called Loki's Charms, and they do glow in the dark, and I got them from Canadian, Inspirational Dice is her name of the company. They come from Canada. They're awesome. What more can I say? Also, currently, and I've showed these on Instagram before, but currently rolling with some pretty Kraken dice, which I just ordered 3 more sets of Kraken dice, because why not? You don't have so many dice. My husband was like, no. Okay. Also, since this is my personal space, come with me momentarily. So look up here. Look up there. Oh, I'm terrible at this. Here we go. Look. I got my Innistrad crap. I got my Liliana. I have a beautiful, got a beautiful painting. I got Gritty up there. Gritty. Hell yeah. You cannot be from Philadelphia area and not absolutely love you some Gritty, okay? Anyway, episode 41, thanks to Tyler Strand. Enjoy.
you. I'm something of a witch.
Welcome to Mission Spooky. I'm your fantastic host, JC. With me today is Kiki and Cord. How you guys doing today?
We always have this problem.
I love introducing you both at the same time. That way you don't know who's going to talk first.
Well, I usually go by the ladies first rule.
Oh, that's so sweet. I was thinking everybody wanted to hear your awesome voice with that brand new wonderful microphone that you bought.
Yes,
He's so smooth.
I'll never speak again.
What? Why? We love your voice.
Yeah, it's so much smoother now. It's like butter.
But
I'm fine. I'm tired. Today we're recording this. It is Guy Fawkes Day. Remember the 5th November. Good day for revolution, America. Just saying.
pretty crazy that I forgot.
And I posted a whole bunch of Guy Fawkes crap. Also a whole bunch of like gritty stuff. Because why not? I feel like gritty is like the mascot of chaos.
I would agree with that.
It's my boy. So hey, yeah, everything's different over here in the server. We actually opened up our Discord server to the public.
Yes. Welcome all ones of you.
There's at least 10 people in the server now because I'm looking at
Yes.
the number.
Yes.
Is that including our bots?
No.
Maybe.
No.
We have 9 bots and
Yeah,
one
really,
person.
9. Oh, look, we had a nice discussion going on about cryptids.
We sure did.
Not much to talk about, guys, other than I'm like fucking tired.
And just so people know, I don't want to get too into it, but we are currently recording this as votes are being counted. So we have no idea the kind of chaos that will be live in the world when this comes out. So hopefully we're not all in flames.
Yeah.
Except for me. I want to be in flames, but that's because I'm smoking.
Smoking. Yeah, say it like that.
I wish I was Jim Carrey's The Mask.
I know. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, we're recording this while the votes are being counted, so we don't know. But it's hopefully going to be a very peaceful transition, and hopefully nothing bad ever happens.
Hopefully the president, who's about to go on and talk right now, won't tell everybody to, what was it, to stand by, but hopefully he won't tell them to, attack anybody who's currently trying to count the votes, because that would be bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anyway, moving on with our lives.
Especially since we live in one of those states that is currently not fully counted.
Yeah.
And will probably swing the other way.
Yeah. Yeah. I keep telling people. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to talk about politics.
Yeah, neither do I. I just wanted to let people know that when we're recording this.
I'm gonna keep that in. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because spooky times are approaching. And by that, I mean about what we're going to talk about after whatever break Kiki has planned, unless there's other things we want to talk about before that.
There's nothing else going on.
Okay. So then when we get back from Kiki, just take over.
Oh, gosh. Okay. So when we get back, we're going to be talking about the Hex Hollow Murder. And we also have a promo today for Kudzu Killers. It is a true crime podcast hosted by Kim and Lark, 2 honest-to-goodness Southern gals discussing compelling tales of Southern-style homicide. So it's murder and sweet tea for everybody. Love it. Like I said, when we get back, the Hex Hollow Murders. Well, murder, actually, just one poor dude.
Hey y'all, I'm Kim. And I'm Lark. And we host Kudzu Killers, Homicide and Sweet Tea.
Each week we discuss the juicy details of real-life murders that happen in the southern U.S., sometimes with inappropriate laughter.
But we try to be nice. The stories may be old, cold, or recent, whatever we find that perks our interest.
We download a new episode every Tuesday. You can find us on all the major apps, as well as a few minor ones. Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, all the rest.
Just drop on by our host page at buzzsprout.com and pick your favorite app to download us on, and be sure and listen.
And be sure to check check our blog at kudzukillerspodcast.blogspot.com, where we have extra content that was just too much for our little show.
So y'all come on, sit down with us and have a big old glass of sweet tea and enjoy listening to us talk all things murder.
Bye now.
Bye, y'all.
Welcome back. And as Kiki said, we're going to be talking about the Hex House Murder today, which was a murder in a house that was in the form of a hex. That's what I'm guessing, right? Is that what I did research on? Because there are interestingly shaped houses out there. That's what I got.
Actually,
Oh, it's the
no.
murder of Hex Houses, which was
Yeah.
a famous house done in medieval times that is no longer done, and it's all the fault of Cord.
That's why you can't find them anymore. They murdered them all.
Yeah, Cord did. He suplexed them.
I did?
Yeah, you.
To death.
I don't think I was like alive that long ago.
You invent time travel in the future.
I was going for the multiple lives one.
No, I don't like that.
Reincarnation.
I do like to murder houses.
God.
So anyway,
I'm just wondering how long it's going to take before I'm like, I hate both of you.
like 3 minutes ago.
Right? It already happened. I just didn't put it in the show.
I've already started sighing.
Right? Oh my God. Right? Yeah.
Just-
Yeah.
Here we go.
Once again, your anger gives me strength.
So we have a mutual friend, JC, who I was at work with the other day, and I was telling him that maybe he should go get a CAT scan because something was troubling him. And he just looked right in my eyes and said, I do have a lot of cats. And I was like, I hate you. That was horrible. I lived through it though. I'm here to tell you about it. Oh goodness. All right. So today's information is going to come from two main sources, and that is a book entitled The Trial of Hex by J. Ross McGinnis, and also the documentary by Shane Free entitled Hex Hollow. I watched that. I want to say I watched that on Amazon Prime. It was free if you had Amazon Prime. Very, very good documentary.
I don't know how to read.
Do you guys know a little bit about the Slender Man stabbing that happened a few years back?
Yes.
Yes.
This reminds me very much of that scenario, which is just sad that we're repeating history. Imagine that. So for those of you that don't know what the Slender Man stabbing was, there were...
Somebody stabbed Slender Man.
Yeah, they did, yeah. Two 12-year-old girls. God, fuck.
It's even worse because you both are really tired. So JC's just kind of stupid joke.
Yeah.
And you're just,
Yeah.
"Ugh,
I don't have the strength to like...
you can't climb this mountain today."
Yeah. I don't know, like, I don't care, whatever. It's fine. It's JC's day to make dumbass jokes because I'm not... I just can't.
That's the spirit.
Yep. I've been looking at numbers for 2 days and I don't understand. It feels like Halloween was like 14 years ago.
I've decided that since everybody wants Christmas to be November until Thanksgiving Day, me and my household are going to just have another month of Halloween until Thanksgiving.
I like that. I'm down with that.
Christmas will not take over my
No.
November.
Right? All right. So the Slender Man stabbing, you've got these two 12-year-old girls, Morgan Geyser and Anissa Weir, and they lure their friend Peyton Lautner into the Wisconsin woods to kill her, thus appeasing this fictional character of Slender Man. And if you're listening to all the testimonies, it sounded like Anissa had convinced an already emotionally unstable Morgan to help kill Peyton. Because Morgan did the stabbing, she's the one sentenced to 40 years in a mental facility, while Anissa was sentenced to 25 years in a mental facility for being, quote, an accomplice. But it was Anissa who was totally convinced that if she didn't carry out the deed or control Morgan into doing it, the Slender Man would come and murder her whole family. So she thought that she was doing this great thing, right? She's trying to keep the people that she cared about safe. And she had convinced another person the same thing. The murder of Nelson Rehmeyer is very similar. It's a deed carried out in order to save the lives of 2 men and an entire family. Both cases share the misinterpretation of information and stories that ultimately lead to emotional and physical scarring for one young girl, for example, in the Slender Man case, or for poor Nelson, the brutal and untimely death of a very kind and gentle man. And both deal with the sometimes overbearing power of suggestion that can turn deadly and dark for those who are already on a path of mental instability.
Yes.
Really sad. And we're going to treat this as kindly as we possibly can because the relatives of Nelson Rehmeyer and of the perpetrators of the crime, they still have living relatives in this area. So just going to stick to the facts.
So I can't make fun of everything all the time, is what you're.
Not everybody, no.
Do you know how much harder this episode just got for me?
Yes.
A little sensitive.
Just a tad.
You'd be a little sensitive, bitch.
No, that's not. That's not me. That's not my job. That's your job.
Oh, goodness. This is going to be so much fun. First, I'm going to dive a little bit into the magic behind the Rehmeyer murder. And then we're going to discuss the perpetrators and the victims, like I said, as respectfully as possible because they have living family members on all sides. Lastly, we're going to go into the murder itself. And I think it's kind of important in this case, we're going to understand the different types of magic that were at work at the time and actually still are there. There are different types of magic currently used by folks here in PA that consider themselves Pennsylvania Deitch or Deitch. Some of you may be familiar with that. We did an episode this time last year that is currently not up there. I'm not sure what I'm doing with those 2 episodes on magic. So they'll be back in some form. But we discussed Brockerai and Hexerai. And the very basic understanding of that is white magic and black magic. Brockerai, sometimes referred to as powwowing, and in this particular murder, that is what we're going to be calling it, is a combination of heathen magic and Lenape herbalism, and it was used to treat the sick and protect farmland and families. Lenape being the Lenni Lenape Indian tribe. Hexerai is the more witchy of the 2 and used conjuration, talismanic magic, necromancy, mediumship, fortune-telling, and spellcasting, all considered arts of sorcery. It is based on the 6th and 7th books of Moses. And it's interesting to note that this knowledge is usually passed on from man to woman or woman to man so that these 2 genders are always equal in the knowledge. Hexing involves not only creating a curse, but also having the ability to break that curse. Even today, certain types of witches will note that to know how to curse is to know how to break a curse. So neither one of these paths are inherently evil. Hexerai had its place as well as the faith healing of powwow. And it still does because we talked about this too. Erglau, which is the modern denomination of heathenry inspired by P.A. Deitch, has Brockerai guilds practicing pagan magic currently, and there's still fancy Dutch practicing Brockerai faith healing alongside Christianity, right here in PA.
Interesting.
Right here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, the best state
I mean,
ever.
I'd say it's top 50 for sure.
God. Oh, goodness. Okay, so it is the practice of powwow, though, that's going to lead to the murder of Nelson Rehmeyer in what was known then as Rehmeyer's Hollow. Later becomes called Hex Hollow, and that happened on November 27th, 1928. So not really that long ago in the grand scheme of things. There are 3 men who are involved. There's John Blymeyer, who was 33 at the time, John Curry, who was only 14, and Wilbert Hess, who was 18.
Wait, Hess? You and I both know a Hess.
I know a couple of them.
Kiki knows. She knows.
And you know, it
Oh,
was
I know.
not too long ago that we were discussing something in particular having to do with that person possibly being the architect of some sort of crime, which we will rename Nameless.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. Oh, believe me, the whole time that I was listening to this, I was like, really? Okay, yeah, Ah, my goodness. Actually, Wilbert Hess and John Curry, you will find in a few moments, are really sad stories as well. So Cord, you do know something about this, though, he said.
Yeah, I did some reading a long time ago and discovered it. And I looked into the powwow magic back then a little bit because I was like really interested in that just to like know what it was and what it was about and stuff. It was actually pretty cool stuff to look into. I did read a good bit of like what happened, at least from one standpoint. I don't know if there's multiple opinions about what happened, but I read at least one person's side of the story, I guess.
That'll be interesting to see if what matches up with what you've already read too. So technically, the architect of this crime is going to be John Blymeyer. He was a fellow powwower at one point, and someone who had a rather hard life that was made even more difficult due to his mental issues. He suffered from paranoia, delusions, and he had possibly borderline personality disorder based on some of the things that his family had noted in his behaviors. He had been in a mental institute, Harrisburg State Hospital, in 1923, but he was only there for like 45 days before he escaped. His family thought that he should have been readmitted, but it never happened. Basically, the world was against him, and he was always the victim. Nothing that happened to him was ever his fault. This was basically the attitude that he had. He knew Rehmeyer from a previous work position that they had together. Unfortunately, he had lost 2 of his 3 children. The last one who passed away was a daughter who died at birth, and after that happened, his wife left him. He was having difficulty getting work, wandering the streets of York, Pennsylvania, with no direction, and his life seemed to be spiraling out of control. So he decided to go to another powwower in Marietta named Nellie Knoll, also known as the River Witch of Marietta.
That's a cool title.
Yeah, that's a pretty fucking cool title.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
I'd bang her. I mean,
I'm at least a fan of the title. I don't know.
This is where I tell you that Nellie Knoll was a old woman at this point.
that's not gonna stop me. Look,
Oh my God. So Blymeyer approaches her. Goes, he's going out of town basically to go see her. Nellie puts a dollar bill in Blymeyer's hand, removes it, and supposedly this face appears. And she tells him this is the face of Nelson Rehmeyer, that Nelson has cursed him. And there seems to be no reason in particular, though, that she chose Rehmeyer. In one article that I read, someone had a kind of an interesting take on it, which was powwowers were getting paid money. You went to go see them if you were sick or if you felt like you were cursed, and even today, this is the truth. So it's very possible that she knew of Nelson Rehmeyer and that she saw him as a threat to her own business because so many people went to him. And so she decides that it's Nelson who's doing the cursing. And she tells Blymeyer that he needs to go see him, get a lock of Nelson's hair, that he has to bury that hair 8 feet underground, and that he needed to find his book of spells or grimoire, and that it should be burned. Now, at this point, that book, literally, the book is called The Long Lost Friend. It was published, and a lot of powwowers had it, a lot of lay people had it. He probably, would write things in there as well, like in his own handwriting. So this turns into sort of like your grimoire. So you have to find that, and you have to burn it. Once those 2 things are done, the curse is going to be broken.
Sounds easy enough. Adventure started.
Quest accepted. Here's the thing. Nelson Rehmeyer is this absolutely huge man. He's like supposedly over 6 feet tall. He's not wispy by any means. He's a farmer. He's a big dude.
Okay.
He's about 60 years old when this is happening to him, but Blymeyer is already thinking that he probably is going to need help because obviously Nelson's not just going to be like, yeah, sure, here's a lock of my hair and here's my magic book. Sure, you can burn it. Sure, you can bury my stuff. Who's going to do that? Nobody.
I would. But I'm not a very good witch wizard person. Yeah, because I don't think magic's real.
Shut up.
Hashtag at me.
Big oof.
Remember the last time I said I didn't think something was real and I was super aggressive?
Wasn't it about like New Jersey?
No, New Jersey's definitely not real. I'm talking about puckwudgies.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I remember what happened to you last time. Yeah, I do.
Good
I
time.
do.
now I'm curious of what happened last time.
We'll talk about it after the show, Cord. And it's already recorded.
It is. That is already recorded. You can go back and listen to that.
I'll just
It's the one after Puck Wedgies.
Interesting.
follow-ups. So Blymeyer decides that he's going to enlist the help of a couple other people. So far, Cord, is this like what you have read as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe I remember hearing about the lady having some kind of beef that needed squashing with Mr. Rehmeyer. So that account seems familiar to me, definitely. But yeah, pretty much.
So the first person that he enlists to help him is John Curry. Now, remember, he's 14 years old. He becomes sort of heavily influenced by Blymeyer, who he sees as a friend and a possible father figure. So Curry's had a pretty rough life himself. His father had beaten him so many times that his mother moved away and moved to York, Pennsylvania to get away from the dad. He winds up meeting Blymeyer in a factory where they work together. Each of them goes back and forth telling them their sad tales. Blymeyer convinces Curry that Rehmeyer must have also cursed him too. This is why his life is so crappy. He should come help him get the things they need to break the curse.
Sounds logical.
Yeah, and it's also sounding a lot like Slender Man, you know, like, oh, you should come because he'll kill your family too if you don't come help me. You know?
Mm-hmm.
The second person is Wilbert Hess. His family had a farm. And I love these where the farm is not doing well, and so it must be someone else's fault. It couldn't possibly be that your farm is bad because you're just a shitty farmer.
Look, people have been denying blame for thousands of years, okay?
I know.
You find reasons to not
I know.
consider yourself a shitty person. I'm just
Yeah, it's just funny that this is like the third time that I've read about my farm isn't, well, of course, look at where we are. We're out kind of in farm country anyway, but it's like, my farm isn't doing well. It's got to be because I'm cursed.
maybe you should put the potatoes fully in the ground. Nah, they grow best on top of the ground.
Or maybe there is somebody who has magical powers and really, really doesn't like farmers.
Yeah, like all of the Native Americans who we stole this land from.
Right. Yeah, they're the ones that actually curse you. Duh.
Yeah. Glad I
I
figured that out.
didn't even think of that, but that makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, thanks, Nancy.
You're welcome. Private eye.
It's the only time you'll ever get me saying that something you said makes sense. So enjoy that.
Burn. So it gets kind of interesting here, though, because Wilbert's family farm is located right next door to Ida Hess's farm. And Ida Hess is a relative, and her farm is doing fantastic. You know, Wilbert's family is like, she must be doing something to us. She must have cursed us. And so when Blymeyer comes up with this whole scheme, he basically winds up convincing them that Ida's probably cursed them, but she's doing it through Rehmeyer. That she asked him to put a curse on them as well.
Magic's weird, guys. It's almost like it can just be a thing used to, you know, let's say, as an excuse for your own shitty behavior.
No.
Not all the time.
No.
Huh.
This one, yes. Yes. Well, actually, there's a couple other ones too. Well, how about the old, he's a witch, so he must be bad. When the fact is that Rehmeyer did nothing but help his community the whole entire time that he was ever a powwower. The whole thing was he liked helping people.
I like helping people too.
So much so, I'll get to that in a second, but go ahead.
No, that's it. That was my whole statement. I like helping people too.
Okay, good. That makes you a witch.
No, I'm not using magic. I use these guns, and by these guns I mean my puny arms.
Also, involving the Hesses gave Blymeyer access to a car, so the three of them could go visit Rehmeyer quicker. Little tidbit there. So on November 26th, before the murder, Blymeyer and Curry visit Nelson's wife, Alice. They have a very interesting living arrangement. She's living on a family homestead a little bit a ways from Nelson's house. There's some people that will say that they were separated or that they were divorced or they didn't get along, but that's not true. They actually were still married. She had basically gotten so tired of him powwowing because it kept her and the children up. They had 2 kids, all hours of the day and night, because he was such a wonderful person. He accepted anybody, no matter if they were sick or not. It doesn't matter if it was like 9 o'clock at night or 2 o'clock in the morning. He was like, no, I'm on call. Like, I'm a doctor-ish. You know, that was the mentality, and he needed to help people. So she'd had enough, and she's like, I'm inherited this house, the family house. I'm just going to go ahead and live there. It's not far from you. And Nelson would even put his wash out in a little basket and she'd come collect it and wash it for him. So, as I would say, who washes their husband's clothing if you really hate him? No, you don't. She just didn't want, they just had to live in separate houses because she couldn't take him being this helpy helperton like 24/7. Thank you. That's what I call my kid when he's getting too.
Helpy
Like
help.
you're getting into everything. He's like, I'm helping. I'm like, no, you're not. So they go to visit her first, which is really sort of odd. And they ask her, where is Nelson? And she's like, he's at his house, duh. He's not here. So they go down to his house and sure enough, he's there. And he's such a nice person. He invites them in. He knew all three of these people in some way in town. He'd seen them. He knew Rehmeyer because they were both powwowers together at one point. And he asked them to stay overnight. It was getting really late. So it's only Curry and Rehmeyer at this point, and they realize pretty quickly that there's no way that these two wimpy guys are going to take down this big guy. So that's when they go the next morning to Wilbert Hess and his family and ask him, hey, can you come help us? Because all we have to do is subdue him. If he doesn't give us the stuff, it's 3 against 1. We can subdue him and we'll take it from him and then we'll clear this whole thing up and go home.
Sounds very legal and logical. Yes.
Sure. So the next morning they pick up Wilbert. They go back and...
Wasn't Wilbert the name of the pig in Charlotte's Web?
Not Wilbert. No, just Wilbur.
Wilbur. Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
I don't...
Yeah. Read.
There we go.
And here we are. Doing all right. You remembered Wilbur. That's pretty good. I'll give you that.
Okay, I'll take it.
Take it. So they basically are just like, it's 3 against 1. Just give us a lock of your hair. Give us your spell book. Or, just do it. Of course, he's all like, fuck you. There's no way that you're getting any of this shit from me. Well, Curry picks up a log from the fireplace and hits Nelson over the head, bringing him down to the ground pretty quickly. This is the back of the skull. A fight ensues in which a piece of rope is used to subdue him. It is thought that the combination of the rope and the internal rupture in his skull from the hit led him to die. And it seems that the murder was accidental, but the moment that they realized that they'd actually killed him, they turned immediately to covering up the evidence. So you want to talk about, somebody who's like, oh no, we just wanted to tie him up and subdue him, and now we've accidentally killed him. We should probably call the cops. Nope. Their first thought is, well, at least Rehmeyer's first thought is, let's burn the body and burn the house down so that no one can find out what really happened. So they attempt to burn the body. That doesn't happen. Now, legend will say that Nelson's body refused to burn because God protected him through powwow. The more likely explanation is that the body was just above the cellar where Nelson kept sacks of potatoes hanging up underneath, and that those potatoes kept the body from burning too quickly and also kept the body from dropping down into the basement, which might have caused the spread of the fire. Potatoes have a very high water content, so their presence, coupled with not enough accelerant being used, actually makes for a decent explanation of why they were unable to burn the body or the house. And since the body did not burn, the police were able to tell that this was no mere accident because, well, he had blunt force trauma to the head.
That's a pretty easy one.
Yeah.
I'm not a detective, but I'd say he got hit in the head pretty hard.
So what I'm learning from this is that JC will never catch fire because he's mostly potato.
Yes.
I am mostly potato.
This is why you eat potatoes.
I love potatoes.
You eat
Oh my
potatoes,
God.
you become less flammable.
It just wow. That is some damn fine logic too.
Ah, yes.
Damn fine logic.
Good job, Cord. You figured out my secret.
Now I must tell you. JC doesn't even drink. He gets all of his moisture content from just potatoes.
From just potatoes.
He just keeps eating them until he's not thirsty anymore.
So a neighbor finds the body. There was a little bit of conjecture. Someone said that a postal service worker found him, but this was actually Thanksgiving, which sort of makes it even sadder in my book because nobody wants to get murdered on the day when you're supposed to eat all the food. That just sucks. I mean, it sucks anyway, but
Especially because of all the potato-like products.
Exactly.
Yeah. Black Friday, that's the day to murder people. For your 36-inch TVs for $20 that will only last for 3 days.
36 inches.
That is very specific.
I just made literally all of it up.
Are you admitting to something, or
No.
JC? How big is this TV in your apartment? Just asking. Unrelated question.
Stop asking these fucking questions, Cord.
I'm not
That
scared.
might
of
be
you,
the
JC.
most sinister thing I've ever said in my life.
Wow.
I get
Yeah, I
that
know.
he's not scared, but like, it scared me.
I'm not scared.
It scared me.
I would not use honor. See, this is what people don't get. I would not like come up to you and be like, "Hey, motherfucker, we gotta work our beef out." I would just go.
If you ever use the phrase "work our beef out" with me, I think we're just gonna fight anyway.
I think we're gonna go grilling.
I just had like a picture of like a steak, like, you know, doing a triathlon.
Yeah, when I said it, my mind immediately went to we're gonna like just start grilling food.
Okay, so anyway, went on that tangent. That's great. What's more likely is that the neighbor did find the body because he noticed that the animals were not fed and they were starting to fuss. And of course, Nelson took care of them very well. So he went over to see if everything was okay, and he found a half burned body. So that was very sad. It didn't take long for police to know exactly who their suspects were because two of them had gone to see Nelson's wife the day before.
Smart move.
And she ID'd them, and then all three of them had also remained in York, and so they were very easy to find. Nobody was running. 2 days after the murder, Wilbert Hess confessed to killing Rehmeyer and implicated the other two. Now, during the trials, the judge did not want witchcraft mentioned. He wanted to stick to the facts and the hard evidence.
Hard.
Damn it. They were determined to have the motive set up as a robbery since Nelson had money in the house and the three men had definitely taken all the money because they themselves were trying to make it look like a robbery. Witchcraft ends up being entered into the evidence inadvertently when Wilbert's brother Clayton uses the word witch to describe Rehmeyer. So of course the papers run with this headlines of witchcraft, and basically they're poking fun at powwowing. Oh, how could these people be so stupid and backwards? They believe in blah, 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 blah. What's really funny is that powwowing has a lot of faith healing involved. And the idea is that the magic is there because God gave it to you, and that you're using your power of intent, or even some would say the power of prayer is the power of intent to heal people and to help people. So the city folk not understanding that this was all very much based in a Christian religion, making fun of these people saying that they're backwards. And I'm like, they all went to church. So-
Wait. So you're telling me that Christians, who are the most noble people, right? Just straight up great people. Like, they were insulting other people based off their beliefs and not and their own ignorance of other beliefs. Are you implying this right now? Because that's
So what I'm implying is that other Christians who were outside, Auslanders, you know, outside of Pennsylvania Dutch culture, those Christians were making fun of Pennsylvania Dutch Christians because they had a slightly different. Yeah, I just want to make sure that, we ran that home 100%. Yes, these Christians were attacking other Christians. Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Because not even Christians are safe from Christians.
No, they're not. Oh, they're not, unfortunately.
Yikes.
So I know you guys are just waiting, chomping at the bit to find out what happened to these three, dare I say, idiots in some cases. But then again, I feel terrible for them as well because they kind of got wrapped up in something. So John Blymeyer was found guilty of first-degree murder and spent time in one of our favorite places, Eastern State Penitentiary. Before leaving the witness stand, Blymeyer said that he thought he did right in killing Nelson. Quote, "I am no longer bewitched. Now that he is dead, the spell is broken."
So, like, did he was the curse broken? Did he go on and live a happy life?
No, he did not.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, go to jail.
No, but there's some interesting twists here. So he was released early. He did not serve out his life sentence. He winds up being completely disowned by his family, which is sort of sad because a lot of this was, I feel like it was not his fault. He had a mental issue. Today, wow, that's not really going to come out of my mouth because I was going to say today he'd get the help that he needed, but truthfully, he probably wouldn't have gotten the help that he needed either. Although I think he would have had maybe a 75% chance of getting better help than he had. Because I still think
And
that
if
we
you
have
go to our
major
sponsor,
problems.
betterhelp.com, you can get the help you need. I wish they'd
Right?
sponsor us.
I know. Maybe they will.
But I thought that was funny.
It was. It actually fit. That was good.
Thanks. I did it good. You heard it here on Mission Spooky First, guys. JC's
For the
funny.
first time ever.
Hey. But true.
His family disowns him. They don't really want anything to do with him. And he spends the rest of his, his working career as a janitor. Sadly, when he does pass away, none of his family want to be his pallbearers, and they have to pull some people off the street to bury him.
Could you imagine just like walking to work and, hey, we need you to lift this dead guy? What? Why? Well, his family fucking hates him. That's so sad. Well, of course I'll help. Yeah, he was a murderer. What? Now I don't want to help, but I already committed.
Wow.
What a roller
Okay.
coaster of a day.
Right? Emotions running high and low.
For the pallbearer.
So Wilbur Hess, the only one that got an attorney, his lawyer presented him as the sacrificial lamb chosen to go down to the hollow and help remove the curse. He was there not because he wanted to go, because he was chosen to go. Both of his parents wind up testifying, saying that they too believe that they were cursed. Sort of solidifies this idea that Hess was indeed chosen to go. The parents get kind of grilled on the stand too. A lot of people felt that they were extremely irresponsible. Duh. You don't send your kid to go. And the thing is, like, I know that they didn't send him to kill him because this was definitely not the plan. You know, all three of them said the same thing. We were not going to actually kill him. I'm going to backtrack for 1 second before I tell you what happens to Wilbur because this is kind of funny. Police officers who acted like journalists went to go talk to Nellie about this and asked her specifically, did you tell Blymeyer that he needed to kill Nelson? And before she caught on to what exactly was happening to her, she did say, I would never tell anyone to hurt anybody. I just told them what they had to do to break the curse. I never said anything about murdering anybody. So I kind of believe the story that the three of them definitely did not mean to actually murder him. It was just an accident. There was a lot more sympathy for Hess than there will be for even Curry. Each one of these guys is tried separately, by the way. Hess gets convicted of second-degree murder and is given 10 years in prison. He serves out his full term, all 10 years. Then we come to poor Curry, who is 14. And he's seen as someone who just went along for the ride, and that he was easily influenced by adults and was very much a kid who was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But Curry winds up getting first-degree murder and is sentenced to life in prison as well. He gets out early, too. And it turns out he's such a super talented map maker and artist. He goes to serve under Eisenhower during World War II, and he helps to draw up the plans for the invasion of Normandy.
Cool.
Crazy, right?
What?
Uh-huh. He also becomes a very accomplished artist that there are many people in York, Pennsylvania right now that have a painting in their home done by Curry. Kind of want one.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I love that part of the story that he truly had a shitty life. He got beat all the time. He makes this mistake, but it's like he just got wrapped up in it. You know, people talk about when you were 14, like you listened to your elders. You pretty much did what they told you to do. You know, you're not quite your own person yet. You're still trying to find yourself. But he wound up doing pretty good, doing right.
That's good. That's nice to hear.
Yeah. So that's what happened to those three guys after. What I do find is interesting, another little aside here, there was the murder of this young girl named Gertrude Rudy. Now, her body is found near railroad tracks a year before the Rehmeyer murder, and this is in York, Pennsylvania. While there was no one ever convicted of the murder, they never found anybody. Many people had seen her and Blymeyer together, and some people even said that the last person they saw her with was Blymeyer. So it kind of makes you wonder if how this escalated into killing Rehmeyer, it wasn't that big of a deal for him to make that call because he'd already killed someone else and gotten away with it. Yeah. So now you guys know what happened at some people call this the Hex House, Hex Murder House, or the Hex Hollow, I think is what it's really known as now.
I believe so, yes.
So here's the hauntings. Now, of course, right away, everybody wants to say that Nelson's still strolling around on the floors of his old home / business. A relative did live in the home. In the documentary, you will see that this relative of his is living in the house, and they preserved the area that was burned on the floor where he would have fallen through, and they put like that heavy plexiglass over top of it, the kind that you can like walk on to sort of like preserve it and see where he could have fallen down into the cellar. There wasn't anything really in particular in that story, or in the documentary rather, that Nelson was still quite quote unquote haunting the house. But there is this story, and it's kind of my personal favorite. If you throw a stone at the house will throw it back to you.
So does the house then say, I'm rubber, you're glue, wherever you say 60 bounces off me, 6 to you? Is that what happens? Is that the spell?
No.
Oh, okay.
Stop that.
Never.
Stop that.
Stop what?
That.
Talking. Just don't.
Oh, okay. I'll go cry.
He's the host. He can't stop talking.
Oh, wait, yeah, that's true.
On his contract.
No, it needs to stop.
Cord, it will never stop.
So the legend now is, did the house protect Nelson, and has it taken on a life of its own? Dun, dun, dun. I want you guys to know that this actually sparks a whole bunch of other Hex murders.
Oh
No.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh.
We're not going to get into those today. But I was really shocked. Yes, this becomes the Hex Panic, and it goes on into, one of them was like 1930 something, where a man, I know one of them, the one that's like in the 30s, this last name is Betchel, and I remembered it only because one of my ancestors from here is Betzel, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. It's different, but it was like close enough. I was like, oh my gosh, wow, what? So yeah, there turns out there begins this Hex Panic. People are killing other people because they think they've cursed them, and it gets so bad that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania takes certain parts of learning about hexing and etc. out of schools, because apparently some of this was then taught in school,
As it should be.
yeah, well, as part of your culture and religion. Technically, the Supreme Court outlaws mandatory Bible studies courses in schools in 1963, but they could still teach objectively about religion as opposed to teaching religious indoctrination. So you would teach that as Bible literature instead of, you need to be Catholic.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but Pennsylvania made them stop doing it in the middle of the state where this was happening before 1963 because it was causing so much of a panic and people were getting killed literally. There's another one where a young girl was killed as well. So we could talk about those at a later date, but yeah, it's crazy. That's more of a Kiki's like side mission about murder.
Murder.
Just murder that doesn't involve any kind of haunting. Whereas I think this one's kind of cool. Man, it's like I want to go there and I want to throw a stone just to see if it comes back at me.
Right?
Road trip.
Then I don't want to throw a stone at a house.
Yeah, that'd be rude.
Yeah.
Especially if the house is alive.
True that. Or it's just a very old house. And again, I always say this, I'll try to put some pictures up for you guys. I suck at sometimes putting pictures up, but I did put up my cemetery photographs from Sleepy Hollow. So yay. Cord, do you have anything else to add to this story since you knew about it?
No, I mean, you covered pretty much everything that I knew. So, good job. You did it.
Thank you.
You definitely covered everything I knew.
Did you know anything at all about like even what we were talking about today?
Yeah, I knew there was houses that were in the shape of a hex, right? That's what we talked about?
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know what?
Glad I was
Yeah,
correct.
that's what we talked about today. That's
Mm-hmm. Houses in the shape of hexes. Okay. On that note, our musical guest today
This is fucking done.
is Born in Exile from Spain with their song Ziggurat from their latest album Transcendence, which is out now. And you can find Born in Exile on YouTube, Spotify, and Bandcamp. They are super cool and also led by another female singer. So it's another really cool metal band with a female singer. I love it. When we get back, we're going to do Spooky Squad news and shout out.
Working title.
I'll branch off and do Cryptid Corner episodes, and you can just do a whole other podcast where you talk about musicals.
It's called Old Sickles.
Yeah, but I'm not even good about talking about musicals.
You're like, I like this song.
It was a good song.
You're just going to be like, Hamilton slaps, and that's the end.
Yo,
On Pod of Holding. I was so disappointed. October started off so strong, and now I've had people had to cancel on me for some interviews, and so I have actually, speaking of reviews, I have our review of The Witch to edit and get out to you guys, which is going to be over on Pod of Holding at some point. But it started off as a quarantine thing, and then we got out of quarantine, and now it's just been a pain in the ass. But
At least your entire October didn't get canceled like mine did.
I had a pretty good October. I don't know. I didn't do anything fun or spooky, but hung out with some friends on Halloween and watched some horror movies. Watched Rose Red, and then some classical monsters, The Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, I believe. Yeah.
nice. Oh boy, I just saw some really, really incredibly amazing news.
What?
Nothing.
Is it political?
Yes.
Well, say it.
Trump's lead in Georgia is now down to 3,486.
Sure is, but they're very
Goddamn.
close. That's gonna be a recount state.
That is from a county that was going for Trump. But, these are the mail-in ballots, Oh well.
It's gonna be PA and Nevada that I think swing it for Biden.
It only has to be PA.
Or Nevada. Yeah.
Yeah. Nevada or PA. I want it to be PA so bad. His whole comment about bad things happen in Philadelphia, people have made that into a gritty meme like a million times, and I think it's like fucking hysterical.
One of the wrestling promoters that I work for posted this thing on Twitter where it was like, Lou Dobbs, the men's Republicans surround Philadelphia and exert a demanding presence, to which somebody responded, sure, Lou, go for it. Philadelphia has a museum that almost entirely consists of deformed fetuses in jars, and that doesn't even crack the top 5 craziest shit in that city.
That's the Mutter Museum, bitch.
Which I had to respond with, I was lambasted by a homeless man outside the Benny Frank for 3 to 4 hours straight that I think would be more intimidating than a bunch of Republicans. And that is a true fucking story.
True facts. I Cord. If you want to join the squad, head on over to patreon.com/missionspooky. We have tiers at the $1, $3, and $5 level. One single buck gets you our undying gratitude, access to our boober reels, and a shout out on the cast. The $3 level gets you all of that, plus early access to our true crime side missions. I have another one coming out very soon. So early access for that, and then exclusive access to Kiki's Quirks, which is my monthly dive into a topic of like magic, paranormal history, whatever the hell I want, especially topics and places that we've already talked about. And then our $5 level gets you access to our monthly Discord chat, which is a private chat, and that can include special guests that have been on the show previously, not only on Mission Spooky, but also on Pod of Holding if they feel like showing up. Feel free to email us any questions or comments or anything about our previous episodes, and that is missionspookypodcast, all one word, @gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram @missionspooky. Don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes, and also rate and review us on Podchaser, and follow us on YouTube. I put everything up there on that channel except for our Mad Libs special that I hope you guys enjoyed, because we're going to be doing those occasionally.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Right? I think Cord needs to be on the November one.
Yes, I agree.
Sure, yeah. I'll do whatever.
Our Discord is open to the public, and we have a Reddit, and I think I found our people, because I love to go take photographs of cemeteries, and well, they like our photographs. So
Nice.
Hey,
So if you follow us over on Reddit, you will get to see our photographs too over there. Plus, I have some on the Patreon for free. That's always a free thing. Unless you guys have anything else to say, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I think I'm good. Cord, you good?
Okay.
I'm fine.
So once again, our musical guest taking us out today is Born in Exile from Barcelona, Spain, with their song Ziggurat. You can find them on YouTube, Spotify, and Bandcamp. Stay spooky and don't die. If you do, contact us.
Via hexagram. Wait, hex signs? Hex signs.
You know what? Here's a better one. Just throw a stone at JC.
And that's how we'll end it.